It'll be 1 to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Austin. Sorry, Jeff. We have one more.
Oh, sorry, no problem.
Austin Kilgore, Dallas Blog. Comparing last April here to this race tonight, is that almost, can that be looked at as kind of a microcosm of the improvement that your team has had over the season? And is it any indication of where you guys can improve to for next year?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely a sign of we've improved. There's no doubt about it. And one of the reasons why we haven't had a win to this point in the season is because we really were off track at the beginning of the season. And unlike Jimmie and their team, it's taken us a little longer to get it turned around. But we have definitely turned things around, and we've been way more competitive, especially on the mile and a halves. And tonight was a perfect example. I mean, not only qualifying, but even though we weren't very good, we were still way better than we were here in April. So, of course, it was hard to be worse. But I think that I think not only tonight, but the last several races have shown the improvements that we've made with the cars. Yep.
I believe we have one more question in the press box for Jeff.
Oh, cut him loose.
Yeah, thanks, Sis.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, we'll open up questions for Jimmie. Any questions on the media center? Any in the press box?
Yes.
Terry Blunt, ESPN.com. Jimmie, can you say what specifically was wrong with the car early in the race? And, despite a day, a pretty miserable day, I mean, you still finished 15th. That's kind of been your modus operandi to stay ahead. You no matter how bad the day is, you guys still, finish in the top 20 and make it a decent day. So can you say something about those two things?
Yeah, I mean, this team is great at trying to come back, and we never quit, and I think that really pays off. At the end of races, we make our car better, and today we had to do that again. The first 3 runs, we started really loose, and we made an adjustment. We were running in the top 10, I think, maybe top 7, and the second time out after that was just a short 5 or 6 lap run, if I remember right. And we're still pretty loose, and we came in and made another big adjustment. And then at that point, we got very tight with the car. And once that happened, I was a sitting duck, and then we had at least one more green flag stop, 1 or 2. So we just got way behind. And Chad had mentioned something to me on the radio where they figured out there was something that they made a mistake with, tire pressures or something. And from that point forward, the car was much more competitive, and then we made it faster throughout the day. And I ran a lot with the 07, the 16, the 18, and I ran with the guys that ran in the top 5 basically all day. I just couldn't get any further and get to the 99 and try to get my lap back, and without any cautions throughout the day, just couldn't count on that lucky dog to come through. So we finished okay. Definitely not the performance we had hoped for. If we didn't get behind on that 3rd run, I think we would have been fine and finished in the top 10 at some point, somewhere in the top 5, top 10 today.
We have a question in the press box.
We got 2 questions, and then we'll be done up here.
Bob Margolis, Yahoo Sports. Jimmie, did you realize how much of a heart attack that Chad had when you almost had the collision on pit road? He mentioned an expletive, television played it, and did you have a little bit of a heart attack yourself when you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that little bit of a traffic jam?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it coming, and I think he was probably more excited about the whole thing than I did. I was leaving my pit box, and I could see the 28 pulling out in front of me and what was going on. So, yeah, I did have to hit the brakes hard, but I had a front row seat for it all and really saw what was taking place.
Question, David?
David Poole, Sharp Observer. For a month now, we've been asking other people about your team, so let me turn the tables a little bit and say, Carl goes 69 laps, wins the race, gambling on fuel. That's a pretty big gamble in this circumstance. As the guy who's been in all these points championships, can you talk about the courage, the the whatever it takes to take that gamble. I mean, maybe you're in a no-lose situation because they've got to try to come back, but it's still a pretty courageous decision to make that call.
Yeah, I don't know all the details yet, but from where I'm sitting, they had a good chance to make up points, honestly. They didn't have to win the race. I feel that they knew they were going to make it, and they started that last run because I really expected 99 to fly through the pack and end up in the lead in a short period of time, and it just took them a long time to get going. So I thought, well, maybe this car isn't working right, but I really think in the end they were saving fuel. They were playing that card, and if it worked, great. If not, they still were going to get a bunch of points on us. So I don't think Bob or Carl, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't think those guys were swinging for the fences like that. I think they're a little more calculated with it than that, because they're going to make a bunch of points on us.
Gary?
Gary Graves, USA Today. As good as this chase has been for you, I mean, to have a day like this and it only be 15th, I mean, do you feel like, okay, now I've gotten it out of my way and it wasn't as bad as it could have been, that is something you can take into Phoenix since you've won there?
With the points lead that we had, there's a level of comfort there that I don't have to outrun the 16 or the 99 or the 31 to be the champion. It was just about making sure we did our jobs to be competitive. And that is the pressure I've put on myself and that this race team's put on itself. And those first 3 runs of the race today, we weren't competitive. Especially that third run. We messed up. We just didn't have it. And that got us behind and we could never recover. So I'm more frustrated in the fact that we didn't do the job we needed to today than the fact that I lost points. I mean, if I lose 5 or 10, 20 points at a time to those guys because they win and I finish 4th or 5th, I can handle that. But to go out there and not perform and get caught a lap down and stuck a lap down all day, that's the part I'm frustrated with.
I believe we have a question upstairs in the press box.
Yeah, Jim Pelly with the Kansas City Star. Jimmy, certainly there's no panic on your team right now, but do you feel all of a sudden there's a race?
Man, it's been a race the whole time. You just never know what's going to happen. There's still 400 miles at Homestead and 300 at Phoenix. A lot can happen. Even at 183 points over Carl, I wasn't comfortable. I mean, I think it's 161 points you can get in a weekend. If I stuffed it in the fence that first run, I finished 43rd. They're right there. It's a race of 20 or 30 points at that point. So, and now that comfort margin's even closed up more. So. It's still a race, and we got to go to Phoenix. And my goal is to outrun those guys. My goal is to win the race, try to lead the most laps, win the race, and gain points on those guys so that we go to Homestead with as many points as we can. And that's truthfully the goal. I hope it works that way. There's no telling it will, but that's what we're working on.
Any more questions in the press box?
Nope, we're good.
David?
Did you expect to get that lap back and come up there and finish 6th? I mean, when you got a lap down, your car had been, I guess, bad enough to where you maybe didn't have that expectation. But the way your team has been so resilient, the way things happened last week, was you just sort of kind of waiting for the things to work out your way, or did you have a sense of that?
There were a couple times where I had some hope. I was running down the 11, and he was the first car 1 lap down, and then we didn't get a caution, and we had green flag stops, and Carl caught guys and put them a lap down, so that opportunity went away. There at the end, I was kind of catching the 83 for a little bit, and then we kind of stalled out, and we're running the same speed. So there were a couple points that I felt good about it, but at the same time, there's so many green flag runs that I knew we were in trouble. I knew we could run in the top 5, but if I felt like I was going to have to go up there and take my lap back, and I knew we couldn't do that. So I kind of had that feeling we were in trouble.
Any questions? Any more questions for Jimmy? Not. Congratulations.
Thank you. Got it.